Miyari, hola, hello, bienvenidos, welcome, Manawa. So, Dairile Ra Jikotea Niaku'no. Hello, my name is Ra Jikotea Niaku'no. Hola, mi nombre es Ra Jikotea Niaku'no. That's my Taino name, and my I guess you would say my Spanish name is Ra Ruiz León. Datraha Taino-Borikua Waria Boriken. I am Taino-Borikua from the island of Boriken, also known as by its colonial name, Puerto Rico. Hahom, Arikomabu, gracias, thank you to all of you for joining us. Gracias por estar aquí. I'm tuning in from Humacao, Boriken. I am a queer, vegan, poet, dancer, teaching artist, singer-songwriter, organizer. I make songs in the JibaRa Taino language, and I'm also an instructor of the language. I'm enrolled with JibaRa Taino of the Caribbean, and I'm also a member of the JibaRa Taino language team. And you can find my music on Spotify and iTunes, and my music videos on my YouTube channel, which is Ra Ruiz León. And I'm really excited for you all to be here and for you to witness conversation between Kuia and Gé and myself. If you weren't with us for the first Kiwari Taino Ahuiki'no or Queer Taino Voices that happened, I don't know, I think it was last year that we did it, but that the recording of that event is actually on my YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out and see how that conversation was and watch the interviews, you can do that by just going to my YouTube channel. Again, that's Ra Ruiz León. So that's there for you to watch at any time. And the recording of this will also then go to my YouTube channel. So Kiwari Taino Ahuiki'no, well, first I want to say that Kiwari is a Taino word, or a JibaRa Taino word that means rainbow. And so, but it also means queer, right? So we've been morphing it. And to me, queer or Kiwari is an umbrella term for all of these identities that sort of exist outside of the heteronormative paradigm. So Kiwari or queer to me doesn't have one meaning. It's just an umbrella term for a lot of different identities. I want to mention JibaRa Taino Voices, which is a monthly sort of Taino gathering that I host. It's virtual by Zoom, and in it, what I do is that I interview different Taino folks from our community who are artists, who are educators, who are activists, organizers. And I want to tell you about these shirts that I make that are, some of them are in the language. For example, this one that Elizabeth is wearing that says, Ahia Adaka Alu Taino, speak to me in Taino. And then we have Tyla on the other side, another artist, and she's wearing one that says, speaking your indigenous language is cool. So you can purchase that. You can go to my website, or you can go to the Instagram page for that, which is Jikotea Niaku'no. And there's also this really amazing print that was made by this Maya artist from Guatemala. His name is Jose Flores Chamale. He makes pieces that are reflective of his indigenous community, but this one, he wanted to showcase Taino culture and Taino tradition, and he created this amazing piece. So if you would like to have a copy of this, you can go to my website and purchase it. Okay, so the way that this works, let me stop share here. The way that this works is that I'm going to show you the interviews that I originally did with Kuia and Gé, which is exactly how we did the first Kiwari Taino Voices. And so those interviews were done by Zoom, and I recorded them and then I edited them. And the point of Kiwari Taino Ahuiki'no or Queer Taino Voices is to archive the narratives and the stories and experiences of queer Taino people. So that said, that I think it's really important to archive our stories and share them and put them out there, because there's going to be someone who's trying to find that community, and they're going to find this, and they're going to, it's going to resonate with them. So I think it's really important for us to share our stories. So what I'm going to show you now is a cut of the interviews that I did with Kuia and Gé. I wish I could show you the entirety of the interviews. They were each about an hour long, and there was amazing things that they said. And so when I was editing it, it was like, it like hurt me every time I had to cut something out, that I was like, oh, like I have to choose between this and this. But anyways, I hope that you enjoy it. What's going to happen afterwards, after I show you the video, is that I'm going to bring forth Kuia and Gé, and we're going to have a short conversation. So the video is about 22 minutes long, and then the conversation will also be about 25 minutes. And actually, one more thing before I play it. The first interview with Gé is all in Spanish, and then the second interview that you'll see with Kuia is all in English.
Mi nombre es G, soy de Boriquén, actualmente vivo en Dorado, es la zona norte, antes conocido como Toa, o parte de lo que era Toa. Pues me considero una persona multiespíritu, ¿verdad? Comencé asociándome con el término dos espíritus, pero siempre he estado en mi exploración y en mi búsqueda por no encontrarme en un binario o en un extremo. So, cuando me introducen la palabra de multiplicidad y esa posibilidad de bailar en todas las energías, en todo momento, pues siento que eso reflejaba más cómo me sentía, ¿verdad? Más que sentirme de ir de un extremo a otro, me siento así que en todo momento todas estas energías viven en mí, y pues resoné más con esa, ¿verdad? Con esa forma de apalabrarme. ¿Qué más? Mis pronombres son ella, él, ella, todos, ninguno, pues porque este lenguaje español es colonial, y pues me gusta también llevar ese mensaje donde mi pronombre podría ser G, o sea, porque, ¿verdad? Sí, esforzarse tanto en sustituir cuando podemos también address por el nombre. Tengo 27 años, ya van 27 vueltas al sol. Llevo aproximadamente siento que toda mi vida he estado en esta dinámica de encontrar en el afuera o en la munda algo que quizás fuese semejante a un camino que me llamara la atención, y pues como que no había nada por ahí. He tenido que hacer mi propia senda poco a poco, y es un poquito fuerte a veces, como que siento que mi identidad se diluye con todo lo que estoy absorbiendo, con todas las otras identidades que coexisten conmigo. Y es necesario que me tome unos momentitos como que to remind myself que hay veces que no, lo que soy o a lo que voy, no lo veo, pero sí lo puedo sentir. Pues soy egresada de la UPR de Río Piedras, estudié allá teatro y escritura. Actualmente soy bartender, pero me digo, ¿verdad? Es como me gano la vida para poder tener tiempo de invertir en lo que son mis performances, mi preparación, mi investigación artística, y de una manera u otra también me gusta bailar, me encanta bailar, y el performance son parte de mi práctica. Comencé también toda esta exploración como drag king, y después evolucioné el término a drag queer, y siento que estoy entrando en la barra también, estoy bailando todos esos movimientos, y así es como me como paso los turnos, ¿verdad? Porque si hago algo que no me gusta, siento que, o sea, sí me gusta estar pendiente de lo que hago con mi energía y quisiera que todas las cosas que yo haga en mi vida van dirigidas a eso. Y aunque actualmente ese trabajo va dirigido en lo económico, pero sé que lo que hago presencialmente ahí es ser un mediador entre sustancias y personas, y no es algo que quiero continuar haciendo. Ahora mismo también ofrezco talleres de escritura creativa, de movimiento, de performance, y eso es lo que como que lo que me mueve, compartir medicina con las personas, ¿verdad? Y el movimiento, la sanación está en las letras, está en ese momento que podamos concedernos para estar con uno mismo y en comunidad. So, poco a poco he estado descubriendo esa otra parte de mí, que esto me llena, esto me gusta, y ver cómo puedo cada vez hacer lo más posible para distintas personas, distintas partes de la isla. So I'm hustling como bartender 3 días y el resto de los días corriendo por ahí a mercados, llevando artesanía, llevando mi arte y exponiendo estos encuentros, me gusta llamarles encuentros de escritura creativa. O sea, mis ancestres y mis antepasados sostienen mi identidad actual. No es algo inventado, no es algo que surgió porque se me ocurrió a mí o porque se le ocurrió a par de gente que está de moda ahora. Es algo que muchas cuerpas que han transitado de esta tierra eh, y estas aguas pues han tenido vivencias similares a la que siento el llamado de llevar. Y pues debo decir que cuando encontré todo, ¿verdad? Toda esta información de que en nuestra cultura existían las personas dos espíritus y multiespíritus y éramos parte de la comunidad, éramos una parte íntegra y, o sea, como lo aspiramos hoy en día, me atrevo a decir. Así que eso me dio mucha tranquilidad y seguridad, confianza, que lo siento bien, bien necesario, como tenemos esta idea de que lo queer es bien contemporáneo y es nuevo, y yo, por lo menos en mi caso, sentí que esto tenía una ancestralidad, fue todo, fue todo. Sí, te voy a decir que aún así, ¿verdad? Sí, me reafirmo todos los días y salgo a la calle con eh, mucho cariño y mucha bravura, pero a la misma vez siempre con un bolsillo de miedo, porque como pues dices, vivimos en un país colonial y donde nos consume la violencia, la ignorancia dentro de muchas cosas. Y, ¿verdad? Como que debo confesar pues que sí, que me vivo como en un nivel de temor, pero que lo que hago es que lo llevo conmigo, exacto, no permito que me cohíba de transitarme o de ser. Recientemente había notado que em, de un tiempo acá para acá he perdido el contacto visual con personas y pues antes me gustaba mucho mirar a las personas y sonreírles. Y es algo que he parado de hacer desde que me he reafirmado en mi expansión de género. Y pues noté que me estaba cerrando, no solamente a las personas que podían quizás no entenderme o enviarme quizás una energía negativa, pues por estar evitando estas personas, también estaba evitando personas que estaban dispuestas a conectar conmigo. Que hay veces que yo estoy como que voy solamente caminando para el trabajo por ahí en la mía, pero hay personas que sí me están notando y no necesariamente es con una mirada de prejuicio o con una mirada de juicio, o sea, es simplemente de quizás de aspirar a una conexión o de ver un reflejo de otras cosas. So, he estado dialogando con misma la posibilidad de dialogar también con estos miedos para ver cómo ¿verdad? No me privo ni privo a otros de que nos nutramos en conjunto de estas conexiones que surgen esporádicas por uno estar en eso afuera, ¿verdad? En su cotidianidad. Em, ¿Verdad? Pienso que uno impacta a la munda grande, pero también impacta el micromundo de alguien. So, pienso que ahí es en donde me estoy tratando de enfocar ahora, en esas vidas que voy tocando en mi cotidianidad, cómo puedo estar más pendiente de eso, ¿verdad? Y respetar mis boundaries. Creo que últimamente cada vez voy incorporando más rutinas de autocuido y creo que esa es la manera en que mejor me puedo honrar, ¿verdad? Prometiéndome un mañana con calidad, eh, para mí, para mi cuerpo y para mis alrededores, porque también me he dado cuenta que como que es como una ola energética, lo que yo cuido, o sea, se va como que transmitiendo, otras personas quizás eventualmente empiezan a cuidarlo también cerca de mí. Y he empezado, por ejemplo, últimamente he creado rutinas de facial routines y todo este tipo de cosas que me han llevado a conectar más con mi cuerpo, conmigo, con cómo me voy viendo, me veré, que creo que en nosotros en general, tanto la comunidad queer como la comunidad cis, vivimos en un constante detach de nuestra cuerpo, de estar presente. Y siento que permitirme todos los días conectar y darme unos minutitos de serenidad y de tranquilidad para estar conmigo, con mi rostro, con mis manos, con mi cuerpo, masajearme o ponerme brillitos, ponerme mis plumas. Es como que mi forma de reafirmar y validar mi ahora y una vez como una pequeña promesa de que esto que te está gustando y esto que vamos haciendo ahora también nos garantiza un ahorita, un después, un mañana. Yo agradecido de que pues voy a ser parte de esta hermosa gesta y nada, pompeado y el resto lo diálogo con la gente.
My name is Kuia and Gé, Kiwari Taino Eagle Eyes Wisdom Keeper. I am Taino. I was born in the Bronx, the South Bronx in New York City, but my parents, both of them are from the high mountains of Quisqueya over in Cibao. I was raised between New York City, Dominican Republic, Quisqueya, and I lived part of my life also in Navajo Reservation with the traditional Dineta, which is their original name. And my passions, spirituality, art, metaphysics, the paranormal. I'm a psychic and medium, tarot reader, astrologer. I identify as two-spirit, um, queer. My pronouns are they and them, she, her. I'm also known as a bearded lady, especially in the Renaissance fair community in New York. The way I feel about being Indigenous and being two-spirit, transgender, queer, the way that I also, the importance of it, for me, it's all in one. I'm 49 years old now, and all my life, I felt different. It was so bad that I tried to commit suicide at one point. I'm like the only one of one marriage, and so that, so this like, and the oldest of um, my immediate family, and so I, I've been put in a high pedestal in somewhat at the same time. So I was always visible to people. Either people, place me in a different group or sometimes a different gender. It was like almost like people knew who I was before I knew who I was. and I was, always criticized, especially when I came out as gay at the time, or I came out as Taino and as an indigenous person. So as I got older, I went into therapy. There's a lot of traumatic things that have happened to me in my life. And some of it's related to being seen as an exotic person. And a lot of it is genetic trauma. So I went to therapy and I learned, after a while that I began to rediscover myself. And that's where, after like being in a lot of circles and of transgender people growing up, later in life, I was like, this is who I am. So all of that being said, I've learned that not only do I need to love myself for all that I am, and even, as my ancestors since a childhood have taken care of me, have come to me in spirit, but also talked to me. My blood has talked to me, and I've honored that. And I can't be ashamed, especially after like my spiritual journey started like not until my 30s that I start learning after taking therapy that I need to love myself, and that's my power as a person, as a transgender person, as a woman trapped in a male's body with a beard, these light color eyes, and and I'm here to like just challenge everyone's balance. Um, this is the medicine I come in this life with, and as I've learned within my own darkness and my periods in my life, I've learned that there's the balance, this countering balance of who I am. Even I've been on the vice versa, the flip side with people that uh, that's part of their journey and their healing, as it was for me. So it's so important. I feel to just go full force and just lay it out to people, and especially with my pronouns, because people don't get it. People don't. I'm also non-binary, which I didn't mention. I love men, and I am a woman trapped in this male body, and I'm also Indian, and you're not going to marginalize me or my heart or my soul or my ancestors. I live here in Philadelphia now, and very small city, very tight streets and houses lumped up onto each other with a lot of dark history. And um, people are always vocal about their opinions. And for me, I try to, I live a very spiritual life. So I have my spiritual practices in the morning, noon, and evening, and throughout the day. And I'm so grateful for that. But even with all of that, the meditations I do and some of the work that I do for therapy to really kind of deal with what I should worry and not worry about on a daily basis when I'm socially interacting with everyone, so I won't be a recluse in society and in my own life, has been very challenging. And it's just day by day, moment by moment. And really, I had brain surgery last year. So for me to get triggered emotionally will cause pain in my body. Like the in the healing world, there's a saying that our emotions will produce, and our spirit, if it's off balance, it'll produce the what we're experiencing physically, that dis-ease, and I can't be there. So for me, on a day-to-day basis, a moment-to-moment basis, especially when I'm reading the news, I have to like watch my news and media consumption. I have to like kind of gauge like when I'm ready to really like engage the news or engage people, and new people. I at times I let my guides just really, to be honest with you, I let my guides just coach me and just like let me and carry me, because they've always been there for me and let me know when I'm in a safe place. And I just kind of sense like, is this is this my job? Is this the moment? Is this a healing moment where I need to put myself forward and engage in this conversation in this way and that way? And how much should I share? Because I'm fine by just saying I'm just they and them, or saying I'm Itaino. I have to like kind of gauge like and sense and kind of check in with spirit, and see whether or not are they walking with their ancestors. How much do they need to know right now? Or how much should I open them up? Because really, our medicine as LGBT people, it's powerful, especially at this time with all these changes happening all around us. So that's how I do it. I feel the the way that we can and we should continue doing, um, creating safe spaces, not only for ourselves, but the next 7 generations. Um, it's by by sharing, by continuing to creating safe spaces, meetups, Zoom meetings. These Zoom meetings I love. We live and we kept ourselves alive through our stories. If it wasn't for these stories, we would not be alive. We would not know what we know today. That, one story gets passed on to another person, and you live on. And we live on in one way or another, even if we're not in that person's life, if we experience their story and they're not there in that room with us. I for 16 years growing up, I was a community activist, organizer, counselor. I was a human rights activist. A human rights commissioner for New York City. One of the first youth human rights commissioners in New York City under David Dinkins. I was in ACT UP. I helped start Queer Nation. And that's all I did really, was tell my story to other people. And we have to continue. In my daily life, the way that I celebrate myself, and remain happy with myself and my life, is by continuing to walk my truth and speak it, to be honest, and to actually take moments to celebrate my individuality and myself, wear the things that I love and like and colors. And another way of celebrating it isn't to make sure I don't tell an incorrect story of myself. I think that's the best celebration there is, when I can actually like tell my story to myself and catch myself on my own BS. I don't think there's no other stronger way to celebrate your life than really like showing your love, and what you love, with other people. And I allow myself, that space and opportunity anytime that I see it and I can have it and I feel it. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful, for this moment also, and reflecting back for all the moments that I've had in my life.
Kuia and Gé, for spending some time with me, answering my questions and sharing all that about your lives. I feel like the way that Kuia put it at the very end of the video, about the importance of sharing our stories and how there's powerful medicine in our stories, and how we live through our stories, even if we're no longer in this realm. Our stories live on, and how we survive because of stories, right? And our stories help other people. So that said, my first question for Kuia and Gé is, how did it feel listening to each other in the video? ¿Cómo se sintió eso, escuchar la historia de Kuia, y Kuia, cómo se sintió escuchar la historia de Gé? Quien quiera empezar, whoever wants to start. Oh, let's see. Oh, there you go.
Hola, buena luna. Pues, en verdad, gracias a todos por estar aquí. Soy G. Eh, gracias, Ra, en esa pregunta, o sea, por esta oportunidad de reaccionar. En verdad, mientras me veía fue weird, pero entonces luego a Kuya me reafirmó muchas cosas, ya de que también siento de que no hay mucha visibilidad en experiencias queer que no son solamente jóvenes o teenagers o preteens y muchas veces nos sentimos como gallinas sin cabeza y como que yo viéndome, escuchándome, I felt a little bit like that. I'm always like, I'm Virgo, como que, oh my God, I could have done this. I should mention this and everything. And then when I got to see you, Kuya, it was like, I don't know, like all this bond, like there's a further or forward where we will be organized, we will be together with all our self, our strength to continue our medicine in this past here. So I don't know, I just feel I'm really moved and enlightened by your words and your sharing. So gracias.
Likewise. When I heard your story, especially in the beginning, and how you rationalize your pronouns and how you're feeling in each day, how your spirit moves, especially with your ancestral connection, I was like, oh my God. Like, it's really hard to find people like us to talk like us, especially even amongst, here in the United States. My cousin was here yesterday helping me move with his family, and I had to first, I told them about my like where I'm at right now and who I am, my identity, and that they were asking me questions. I do drag. You're talking about drag, and so I do drag, and so they asked me questions about like, am I going to be doing drag out there? And I said, well, my drag is me, and these are my pronouns, and that's my first time telling anybody in my family. And I felt more comfortable with him because these are people who are him and his mother, even though we're not blood related, he's my step cousin, and and his mother was my step aunt. They were the first ones to know who I was and make me feel comfortable when I came out. But they see me through everything, and she had so many so many friends who were brown and transgender back in the 70s, and they were always around their house and their apartment. But I had to put my foot down with my cousin at one point because he couldn't acclimate to it, to calling me they, them, and because he kept on calling me bro. And that's one thing I really hate. I hate when people call me bro. But I also, what I really am trying to get to here is that nowhere where I live. And he asked me, like, don't I have a friend? I said, I only have one friend. I made a lot of friends here that want to be friends with me, but I couldn't be friends with them who are queer because there's not a sense of spirituality or a sense of connection to the earth that speaks it in their language and the way they treat me. So I may sound like to my family yesterday that I'm getting older and like my friends are getting smaller, the sizes of them, but I really appreciated what you were saying also, hey, when you were talking about walking outside and dealing with people. It was almost like our interviews were identical. And thank you, Ariko Mabura, for making all those edits, because I know with my disability, I just kept on talking but I just can't believe it. I think this is a perfect interview. So I am very grateful to hear your words and you sharing your experience also in this format.
Home to both of you. I think that, because I was editing the videos, I was listening to your interviews, back and forth for several hours. And, sometimes when you listen to something one time, you don't catch everything. But then when you listen to it, una vez, después segunda y tercera vez, empiezas a escuchar cosas, empiezas a entender cosas que uno dice, wow, aquí hay como algo, right? There's a gem here, or there's a lesson here. And I feel like if we were to stop in all the little parts of his interview and all the little parts of the quiz, there could be like so many lessons and things that we could walk away from, that could really, like both of you said, it's medicine, and it helps us, right, to understand the world around us. So my following question to both of you is, well, first, because I know that both of you have done different kinds of work, and you're both artists in different ways, and you've been in different environments, and you work with different people. Has there been something that you've worked on, or a place, or a thing, a piece that has really impacted you and your perspective of your identity, that like kind of shifted, sort of your understanding of yourself, or your understanding of the world? Has there been something that just kind of changed, kind of like lit a light bulb?
Pues creo que lo que me resuena con tu pregunta y similar a la pregunta que hizo creo que Ana Teresa, se siente en mi experiencia van de la mano, porque me crecí, bueno, mi carrera en la universidad fue en teatro, in theater. I studied the laboratory of Grotowski, and when I was doing research, and I couldn't understand and get along with a lot of stuff because I was with college, but I keep up with the script and everything, and I did my play, and it's not like years after that I keep reading, and I get to sit with the books and to understand with my time that every theory in that book of Grotowski, for example, or other personas del teatro, otras diferentes prácticas, porque theater, movies, literature, everything. They just went with their privilege and with their money. They traveled to these tiny islands of the Caribbean to observe indigenous people and get write about the rituals, and they make a practice about it. And whenever I Google everything something about, te sale la práctica de Grotowski, los métodos de Grotowski. There's no single name of one of the tribes they went, for example. So that's when I started to question myself and retiring myself of theater, of some artistic spaces, because I was in my search. In the community, it's a little bit, I don't know, I'm still figuring that out, because I feel there are a lot of things left out of the queer movement, but I feel like that's why we are here and we're connecting and we're talking. And at least where I talk for myself, I feel like my spirit wants to be here speaking the truth. If that means hurting myself in the process, I mean learning to de-learn, to unlearn, and speaking the truth of other spaces and other helping others speak their truth. I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody, but when I start seeing that, I feel like my life starts switching, and then it started with my practice, with my art, but then it started with all what does it mean being gay, lesbian? What does that mean? I mean, I learned the term lesbian or pansexual or anything by this book that was written by a white person. The same, I mean, not the same person, but the same thing happened with the practice of theater I was doing. It was written by a white man that kind of, I feel, steal the knowledge of indigenous people to make a practice and not giving credit. And we're still here figuring our stuff out, and they have a lot of things that we're starting to imagine. And I don't know, there's a lot of work to do. I'm ready for it. Thank you.
For me, in the last 20 years, in the last 30 years, I've been doing, I've been walking a very fine line in my spirituality, but also in decolonization. A lot of us was doing decolonization before, especially if you're connecting, or reconnecting to the Taino community. But before that word was thrown around, I was already doing it for myself on my spiritual reconstruction. I I don't publicize this a lot, but I'm going to do this here because I think it's very important to say this. So I, for 23 years, I've been sober and clean from alcohol and drugs, a disease that is genetically passed down to people, especially to our people, because it's an allergy. And so I dedicated a lot of my life to learn about that and a lot to learn about who I am. And that's how, I came out, and comfortable with being transgender. But what led me to that process was my photography. So growing up, I grew up poor, welfare and everything, Medicaid. They talk about those cheese, the cheese lines and everything from they make jokes about the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, people, getting welfare cheese. I really got that. We had seldomly cameras, so there was no way to document our family. And so, being an artist, I was so far gone in my early recovery that I couldn't draw with my hand a lot, and my eye and hand coordination wasn't really good. So what I did was I did take photography classes, several years of my life, including school. And I used photography to, I challenged myself because I knew this was part of my connecting back with myself and seeing who I am. I hated doing self-portraits. I hated the way I looked. I hated, a lot of things about myself, even my voice. So I did like week after week, sometimes day after day. It became like an everyday thing after a while. I did so many self-portraits that I started peeling all these layers. And so that wound up being a series of art shows where I was living up in upstate New York and seeing people who were not queer and queer, faces just light up and just be in awe. And some people just didn't understand. But that to me was very impactful to me, coming out as two-spirited. I really, and I did a lot of research on Native two-spirited people before I was part of a Taino community. That, I learned about, the Will Roscoe book about Wiwa. That was like a Bible to me for a while. But little by little, like the self-portraits I became more and more comfortable with myself and who I was, that I was able to share that more with other people authentically. And it led me to where I am today. And I still do self-portraits today. Even if I don't post them online, I'm not selling my portraits or other artwork. Like this picture behind me is one of my pictures. I do it for me, for that healing process. And to answer that question that was put in the chat, even my artwork and even these things that we're talking about, me and Gé, other queer people who are not Indigenous don't get this. Unless they're looking for it and they want it, because otherwise, what I turned out to be, and I hate this even, and I love all queer people, don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter what color you are. I'm an interfaith minister also. I'm colorblind, but what I really hate, and I see why other Native people didn't, when I was like trying to discover my ancestors and my culture, didn't like or appreciate also, when people like are just, they want to find themselves through you, but they take, and they don't give back. And so when it comes to socializing, there's a barrier between us and them. And they'll take not realizing that we're humans also, and we want a friendship, and we want an alliance, but we don't want to be taken advantage also. And we want to be seen. We're not books, we're people to connect with. As Indigenous people, we're connected to everything. I was just part of a discussion the other day in our tribe. I'm also from Higo, a tribal member there, and we were talking about how well connected we are to the trees, the animals, our families, to other people. When you hit somebody else physically, that hurts us too. That will hurt you too if you're doing the hitting. And that's something that our people endured for 500 years and more. So that is the difference between us and them these days. And that's why, you're not, if we're not together, we're not, it's a call and response, if you make the call and they're not responding back, then walk away. I'm sorry. I know I talked a lot.
Well, thank you so much to both of you. Haho, Warikomabu. Gracias. So I'm gonna wrap up our conversation with one more question, and that is, what projects or things are you currently working on, and how can the community support you and your work and the things that you are trying to bring forth into the world?
Yeah, but I feel like it's a balancing thing, one side. So pues, I'm also grateful for the thing that we took the video like I feel like it was a long time ago, and I know it was not. So I'm grateful that I could see myself like all the traveling, all the journey that it's been through, all that tiny time. And yes, I got the time to reorganize myself and to put the energy that I mentioned in that video that I wanted to concentrate and focus in my medicine that I've been feeling the call of. And I'm offering I'm trying and I'm doing some ceremonial tattoos or tattoos, but my focus is on doing like with the respect of honoring the moments, of being there with your body and with the decision of getting this on experience and this moment on your skin. That's why I'm calling them ceremonial, not because of the sahumerio or not because the other stuff, but because I feel like in the late humanity in these times we are lacking rituals and we're lacking rites of passages, and I used to did my own rite of passages and were it's not safe and we're not healthy. And I feel like if I can put this other kind of energy, I'll also give writing workshops, or I don't like to call them workshops. I'm working on changing the name, and I call them in español encuentras, gather ups. I'm thinking about the word guasábara now. I'm feeling that word more like un revolú de voces in your mind out in paper, because I want to that energy that we have, it's also medicine. And I feel like as Black Indigenous people of color here in Puerto Rico, we always working or studying. You're always producing for something, but you're not just doing it for yourself or doing it for healing purposes. So I'm working on those stuff like healing tattoo sessions and healing and gather ups for writing and movement. So that's what I'm offering to the community and to the people that I feel I want to impact themselves and the world, because I feel like I'm not a professor. That's why I don't give workshop, because I'm not teaching anything. I'm just spreading what I know to, so other people can keep spreading that. And suddenly everyone is writing, doing some writing in the mornings and meditating and connecting to the earth and to their roots. So that's my work so far. Thank you for the time.
Hey, if you feel comfortable, can you put your like your pages
Sí.
on in the chat para que
Sí,
las
claro.
personas puedan encontrar. Kuya, what about you?
For me, a great way to support me and my work is to follow me and share with other people. I'm still putting together my website, and I'm in the process of moving, and I'm dealing with my disability after it takes about 8 years to recover from a brain surgery. But saying that, I also have all my medicine and other abilities, they are heightened. So I do divination Wednesdays. I do one tarot card reading. It's complimentary. All the other services I'm going to be offering on my website is going to be on a donation basis also. So, once it's up, you can come to my divination Wednesdays and see what it's like for me, what it's like to get a reading for me, and share with anyone else. Soon, at some point, I want to offer my artwork out again. But as like He is doing, I will also be offering some classes on divination, mediumship, and astrology, which I began doing a while ago and I stopped. But it's something I'm going to be restarting sometime in the middle of this year, or by the end of the year, hopefully sooner than later. But www.beardedladyc.com. I'll write it in the chat, or you can follow me on Instagram. That's how I'm promoting myself right now, Instagram and Facebook, at beardedladyc.com. And C is for chamaca.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hahom. Gracias, Arikamabu, to you both. Thank you to the audience for coming to witness the recording and this conversation. We will be doing another Kiwari Taino Ahuiki'no in the near future with other members of the community who will be sharing their stories. And like I said in the beginning, if you are a queer Taino person and you would like to share your story, please contact me so that we can do an interview. Please go follow them on their social media pages and support their work and share their stuff. Get a tattoo from Gé, get a reading from Kuya. And I want to mention two things that are coming up. The Taino retreat is happening this summer in New York City. If you want more information, you can contact Elizabeth at Colectiva Wellbeing. And there's also the Taino conference, which is happening here on the island of Borikua in the town of Canóvanas. That's happening in August. They have a page called Reencuentro Taino. That's their website, and their Instagram is Taino Conference. There's going to be 3 days of talks and presentations and performances by different people. Not just from here, from the island of Borikua, but from other places, other Tainos from other places and from the diaspora. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in our community. It's an awesome time to be Taino. And other than that, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you in the next Kiwari Taino Ahuiki'no and also in our JibaRa Taino Voices. Tahom, thank you, and have a wonderful night to all of you. And Kuya and Gé, I will be in contact. Okay. Usabutawa, usakasakuda.
Usabutawa.
Buena luna.